Hello, good evening. Welcome to the programme.
Good evening. Coming up tonight.
Everybody knows that the first 24, 48 hours are the most important in a missing persons investigation. The police had absolutely nothing to go on.
The parents of a missing Yorkshire soldier make a desperate plea but fear the Army's 2-week delay in reporting him gone may have cost any chance of finding him safe.
A UK first sees doctors in Leeds carry out pioneering brain surgery to treat a builder from West Yorkshire.
Former England manager Steve McLaren puts pen to paper with the Millers.
And it looks like we'll be going down in the togs duvet-wise as the temperatures rise towards the weekend. All the detail a little later on.
First, this bank holiday weekend is set to mark 100 days since a serving Yorkshire soldier vanished without trace, leaving his family in anguish and tormented by unanswered questions.
28-year-old Lance Corporal Ryan Rudd has not been seen since a night out with friends in Selby on the night of Valentine's Day. But his absence wasn't noticed by his army chain of command at Catterick Garrison for another 2 weeks.
Ryan's parents believe that delay may have potentially cost their son his life, with vital time and clues lost for the police investigating his disappearance. They're now desperate for the public to help them provide the answers they so desperately crave. John Hill reports.
And I just keep texting him, just in case his phone goes on at least once, twice a week. I just send him a message.
Ken and Kirstin Rudd are enduring an utter nightmare. The whereabouts of their son Ryan, a Lance Corporal with the 1st Battalion, the Royal Yorkshire Regiment, remain as unknown today as they did when he first vanished more than 3 months ago.
Our lives haven't moved since we found out. We're still stuck in February. You know, it's never...
work, come home, have your tea, go to bed, go to work. And that is basically it, because...
What is there to look forward to?
It was the highlight of when my mate used to come home for leave. I used to look forward to it so much. Not seeing him for 6 months, 3 months. And he's not coming home.
Ryan, a veteran of Iraq, was on a night out with friends in Selby. He'd been in the New Inn pub and was caught on CCTV there. The last confirmed sighting of Ryan was at 6 minutes to 3 on the morning of the 15th of February, close to here, the old flour mill in Selby. Now, it's just a stone's throw away from the River Ouse, and police say they have to accept the possibility that he may have entered the river. But just how much was their investigation hampered by the fact that nobody from the Army realised that Ryan was missing for another fortnight?
Nobody had noticed he was missing. Nobody cared that he was missing. So,
It put the police 2 weeks straight behind.
yeah, everybody knows that the first 24, 48 hours are the most important in a missing persons investigation, in any sort of police investigation. The police had absolutely nothing to go on. There's no evidence. Lots of the CCTV has been wiped before. You know, they only keep it for a week. So they didn't have a leg to stand on in finding what's happened to him.
The Army has told Ryan's parents that a roll call is carried out at his unit at Catterick each Monday to check soldiers are back from weekend leave. And they've been told that it was assumed he was on a course, so Ryan's absence wasn't noticed for 2 weeks. But for Ken and Kirstin, the anguish goes on, and their plea is for anyone with even the smallest scrap of information to come forward to give them the answers they so desperately need.
John, this is so heartbreaking for Ryan's family, of course, and not only do they not know what's happened to him, but it's this delay which has set the investigation back.
It's dreadful, isn't it? And you just have to hear them, don't you, really, just and feel for them. They're not naive. You know, Ken was in the Army himself, and they know that with the passage of time, the chances of a happy outcome become less and less. But as you would, they cling to some kind of hope. And obviously you have to have that hope for them as well, don't you? As for this delay, well, the Army won't be drawn publicly, they'll just say, well, they won't talk about the whys and whereabouts and whatever happened. They'll just say there's an investigation going on. So whether we get to hear that outcome officially, who knows? But if you were the police tasked with investigating the disappearance of a missing person, as you heard Kirsten say, those first 24 or 48 hours, they're absolutely vital, aren't they? Because there might be potential witnesses to talk to, physical clues, you know, clothing, items of clothing, shoes, things like that, CCTV to be done. But if you're not even aware that the person is missing for another fortnight, you can't begin that process, and inevitably memories fade, CCTV may not be available. So you can understand why Ken and Kirsten, through us, are pleading with people. Valentine's night, do you remember Ryan? Can you help bring our son home to us?
Let's hope they get some news before too long. John Hill, thank you.
Thank you. Now imagine going in for major brain surgery and being back home on the sofa with a cuppa the very next day. Well, that's exactly what happened to Wakefield builder Andrew Wood.
Surgeons fixed an aneurysm in his brain by drilling a tiny hole through his eye socket instead of taking his skull apart.
Yeah, it's something that had never been done in the UK before, and it meant that Andrew was well enough to go home the very next day. Katie Oscroft has been to meet him.
Andrew Wood is fighting fit and back at work using the tools of his trade. But in February he was in the hands of surgeons who carried out a UK first 7-hour operation on him, treating a brain aneurysm he didn't know he had.
I didn't know what an aneurysm was, but when I researched it and I found out, quite scary really. We'd cut the bone and then gone through the back. And I think he practiced quite a few times before the operation anyway, but it just seemed like a good idea, you know, a great idea. And it did, it worked.
Any new kind of surgical technique that's never been utilised on humans, it is a bit daunting. And in neurosurgery, the margins of error are virtually non-existent. You cannot afford to make any wrong move, essentially.
And did they tell you they'd never done it before on a human being?
Yeah. Well, got to do it, haven't you?
When a scan revealed Andrew needed surgery, he could have had a craniotomy. In other words, part of his skull removed and the brain moved aside.
Through a keyhole approach, which is much less invasive, and that way patients recover quicker, better, with less amount of tissue damage that's possible.
It just looked like I'd had somebody left jabbed me in the eye, to be honest, so I was quite happy with that. To be honest, I could have got out of bed more or less straight away.
How's your eye now?
Perfect. No problem
Andrew
at
lived
all.
to tell his tale at his local pub, while surgeons at the Leeds General Infirmary can share their new tried and tested expertise, targeting the swelling in a blood vessel through the eye socket.
The amount of courage people and patients show putting their lives in our hands for something that is brand new, and the relief that we haven't broken their trust.
Well, I can't really thank them enough, really. And ever they need my help with anything, I'll be there for them. I appreciate everything that they've done. I generally don't have a serious bone in my body, but I'm just happy that, yeah, basically I've been given a second chance.
This pioneering surgery is now likely to be carried out elsewhere in the country on more patients like Andrew. Katie Oscroft, ITV News.
Yeah, it's great to see Andrew looking so well after his procedure there.
Amazing,
which is,
an
great.
amazing story.
Yeah, brilliant. Now then, stay with us on Calendar because still to come.
I'm a Yorkshireman and I met Tony, he's a Yorkshireman, and you know, we're hard working.
Rotherham United's new head of football, former England manager Steve McLaren, on why he put pen to paper with the Millers.
And with the wet winter we had, a slow start for bees this year. On World Bee Day, some of your photographs, as well as, of course, a heads up for the long weekend, feeling like summer rather than late spring.
Thank you, Kerry. The government has announced it is delaying a 5p increase in fuel duty for the rest of the year.
Rates were previously planned to rise from September. It hasn't, though, stemmed the tide of Yorkshire politicians calling for the Prime Minister to step down.
Our political correspondent, Fred Dimbleby, has the details. And Fred, why has the government made this announcement?
Well, look, there is a simple answer to that. It is because the conflict and the disruption in the Middle East has caused prices to rise. That's hit the price of fuel at the petrol pump. That's hit people's pockets. And the government, which is very conscious about the cost of living and the impact that that has on people, has decided that it needs to delay this move, postpone it. It doesn't mean that fuel duty will be cut itself. It just means that this existing cut will stay in place until the end of the year. But it is nevertheless good news for drivers. They've also announced a fuel duty cut on red diesel. That will help farmers, and hauliers get some good news as well, a 12-month road tax holiday for them. The Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, was in Leeds earlier today. She is, of course, a Leeds MP, and she announced those measures there.
Given what's happening in the Middle East, it is important that we now provide certainty. This war is not a war that we started, it's not a war that we joined, but it is having an impact on people here in the UK. And despite the decline in inflation that we've seen in the numbers that have just come out, I obviously recognise the challenges that families and businesses are facing.
But look, not everything goes to plan in politics, and while Rachel Reeves was doing that interview for the broadcasters, she was interrupted by a heckler, a member of the public who was criticising the measures that the government has taken. She responded, and I think we saw a side of her that we rarely see on camera. Just have a listen to this interaction.
I love our country. I love our country. I love our country, and one of the things about our country is good manners. Not very British. Right, very good.
Great.
Put that on the telly. Right. Yeah, no. Right.
Yeah, slightly rattled there, I think it's fair to say, Rachel Reeves. Well, that's what the government, of course, wants to talk about, the fuel. But meanwhile, Fred, more pressure on the Prime Minister from one of our regional mayors.
Yeah, look, as you mentioned at the start, a number of Labour Yorkshire politicians have come to the conclusion that Keir Starmer is no longer the right man to lead the party, let alone the country. The latest of those is the South Yorkshire Mayor, Oliver Coppard. He says the Prime Minister needs to set out a timetable for his departure, and he's come to that conclusion reflecting on those disastrous election results that we saw for Labour across the region during the local elections. This is what he told me earlier today.
I think the right way forward, therefore, is to have a leadership election with, the best players on the pitch, with people from across the Labour Party. And I'd like to see some new voices in that debate, quite honestly, certainly some women, and therefore kind of how we tackle those challenges put on full display. And as I say, a Prime Minister confirmed and a leader of the Labour Party confirmed by September.
The Prime Minister, for his part, says he's going nowhere, but clearly yet more turbulent times for this government.
Fred Dimbleby in Westminster, thank you very much. Well, elsewhere in Westminster, and a mother from Harrogate travelled to Parliament today to push for better support for families whose children have hemiplegia, one of the most common forms of cerebral palsy. Samuel, who's 6, has the condition on his right-hand side, causing weakness as a result of a stroke in the womb. His mum, Natalie, says treatment is a postcode lottery and is calling for improvements to services for children who are affected. She joined other campaigners to meet MPs to highlight their concerns.
Everyone works hard, everyone's really trying, but the services aren't there for him. And so we end up having to spend a lot of money on private therapies for him and take him here, there and everywhere to fill the gap that is there.
There's a raft of things that we'll be taking away from today, including writing to the new Secretary of State for Health, trying to raise these issues in Parliament and get the awareness and the resolutions that we need for children with this condition.
The MP Tom Gordon there speaking. Now, Ian, I've got a question for you and for you at home. When did you last see a hedgehog?
Well, quite recently, actually, in my garden, because one got stuck in some cricket nets next door.
So you saved it?
Yeah, we saved it. We cut it free.
Oh,
bless
well, that's
him.
Not, just as well you did, because actually they're becoming rarer and rarer.
That's true. I do occasionally see one on the lawn late at night after I've done a late shift, get home, there might be one on the grass. But across Yorkshire, it's feared numbers of the prickly creatures is on the decline. A loss of habitat and an increased use of pesticides is thought to be partly responsible.
Yeah, now a new monitoring project is underway to try to get an indication of hedgehog population numbers. Kevin Ashford reports.
Alan Hayward has been monitoring hedgehogs in his garden in Wakefield for years, but recently he's noticed a fall in the number of visitors.
We used to get anything up to 7 in an evening, but these days we're lucky to see 2 together. Don't know quite why. We've got nothing in the garden to hurt them. We've got hedgehog houses. They get a bit of supplementary feeding each night. Why they don't come, I don't know.
Hedgehog numbers have declined in recent decades, although the precise population size isn't known.
So we're going to put a camera on this tree here. This is close to our ideal spot.
Which is why cameras like this one are being used to get a snapshot of how many of the creatures we have.
Hedgehogs, they're often voted one of the the most popular mammals in Britain. They're such fantastic species, but they're also really important as a sort of indicator species. So if hedgehogs are in trouble, it's a pretty good indication that other species are in trouble. And conversely, if we help hedgehogs, if we try and put in measures to help hedgehogs, we'll be helping lots of other species as well. So they're a really nice kind of indicator species for us.
Now, one of the big challenges of finding out just how many hedgehogs we have is the fact that they can be quite shy creatures and are also nocturnal, which is where these cameras really come into their own. They're triggered by both motion and heat, and they record all wildlife activity 24 hours a day. Data from the monitoring survey will be analysed with the help of artificial intelligence and human volunteers to spot hedgehogs amongst the other wildlife. There are signs that in urban areas hedgehog populations may be stabilising, and gardeners are being urged to help with this trend.
They need lots of food, so having areas where there's a bit of longer grass, hedges and bushes that they can snuffle around in and find invertebrates like earthworms and beetles and caterpillars to eat is really important. Compost heaps are great, heaps of leaves and log piles where they can hibernate. And also if you can provide some water, that's really valuable, not just for hedgehogs but other wildlife too.
It's hoped the monitoring survey will give a better picture of hedgehog populations to help tackle the decline in numbers before it's too late. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
Lovely. That's just, in fact, what I see when I get home sometimes.
Is it?
Lovely.
Oh, good stuff.
Oh, it's nice to see them when you see them, isn't it? It's the same with anything really that we've sort of like pushed out of the gardens and now we're trying to sort of bring them back. And a similar kind of story for bumblebees. It's World Bee Day today, so we're celebrating all of the planet's pollinators. So a big thank you for all your shots. But yes, the bumblebee had a really hard time, particularly in 2024. A little bit of a recovery last year, but with the winter that we just had, very wet indeed. I'm really interested to see how many of the bumblebees and all sorts of bees actually as we head through the spring and summer season that you will have seen, because it's really important that we reintroduce them to our gardens. So stop paving, get all the pots and get the wildflowers in. It's a great time to get those wildflowers in before it's too late. Today, it was a little bit cloudy, wasn't it? We had a few breaks in the cloud. This was Waterloo in Huddersfield. A big thank you to Billy Kendall, and a great shot of Rodley Nature Reserve in Leeds. Gary Bryan was there for a little visit this morning. He's from Ossett. Now, all the rumours are still true. I've been talking about the weekend because that's what everybody wants to know about. The jet stream's pretty amplified at the moment with, of course, low pressure to the north and high pressure to the south. But by the time we reach Friday and into the weekend, we are south of the jet stream, and that's really good news. So we are expecting those temperatures to rise. And this is the temperature anomaly compared to the average from the Met Office. And you can see that by Friday, we've got those really deep reds, which is 8 to 10 degrees above where we'd expect for the time of year. So I've written in there, Ian, you can have your party on Saturday.
Oh, thank you very much. I look forward to being out in the garden. Thank you very much indeed. Now, next tonight, a bit of a Yorkshire homecoming for a man who's not only been in the game for nearly half a century, but his managerial roles have included the top job in English football.
Steve McLaren, born in Fulford and whose first club was Hull City, has had a colourful career, playing for 5 clubs and managing 11 teams, including England. His last job was coaching the Jamaican national side.
But now he's back, and while Rotherham may not have the Caribbean glamour, there's certainly been a warm welcome. Emma Wilkinson is at the New York Stadium. And Emma, just how significant do you think this appointment is?
Well, Steve McClaren is Yorkshire born and bred, of course, but in football terms, he is a global name. He has a huge amount of managerial experience, both at club level and internationally. He managed England, as you say. He was Sir Alex Ferguson's number 2 at Manchester United. He also famously led Middlesbrough to their first major silverware back in 2004, just to name a few of his successes. There have been some failures as well over the years, most recently as manager of Jamaica, who failed to qualify for the World Cup. But what's not in dispute is that when it comes to football, Steve McClaren has pretty much seen it all. And so the hope is that he will bring a fresh pair of eyes to a club that has had a really difficult few years. He said today he's really excited to get started. He said he had considered buying a club. His wife wouldn't let him, apparently. So this was a perfect alternative.
I've always come here and love the stadium, love the atmosphere. It's not a place I've enjoyed coming to as a manager because they were always tough, hard games. And I felt it's an ideal opportunity in this new role at this stage of my career, which was perfect, I think, for me.
So, Emma, it's a big job. What will it entail?
Well, his new title will be Head of Football. It's a totally new role that's been created as part of this general reset, really, since Rotherham were relegated to League Two for the first time since 2013. And the expectation is that Steve McClaren will have a lot of influence across lots of different areas, both on and off the field. Most pressingly, of course, is the recruitment of a new manager, and he will lead that process. In terms of what the fans think of all of this, look, some have expressed frustration about the way things have been going here of late, so may hold back judgment on whether this is the right step forward. But lots of fans I've been speaking to today are very excited about this announcement. They think having someone of his calibre and experience will be a great thing for the club. They also think this structure is a more modern way of running a football club. It won't be easy, but certainly the chairman said today that he hopes that this announcement will send a message to fans that they want to make really positive changes to send Rotherham on a path back up the football ladder. And it's really hoped that having someone like Steve McClaren on board will help them on that journey.
OK, Emma, thank you very much indeed for that update. Thank you.
Well, finally tonight, he's an actor, novelist, radio and TV presenter, but Michael Ball is going back to what he knows best, singing, with a release of a new album.
And a tour to our part of the world. Natalie Bohr's been to meet him.
But still I wish that we could spend the day together. It's been a while since I've been home.
Michael, Glow is your 23rd album, but this one is a bit different.
Yeah.
It's made up of entirely original material.
It's me. It absolutely is. It's the first time I've written before, and I've always included songs only later in my career. But with my best mate and one of the greatest songwriters this country has ever had, Amy Wadge, she said, let's write an entire album. And we did it, had the best time recording it and writing it, and have ended up with probably the record I'm most proud of in my life.
Every time you write me off, that's when I have to remind you I'm vintage, pre-owned and pre-loved.
One of the tracks is called Vintage. It's about embracing getting older.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt pressure to compete with younger artists?
I've never been relevant, so I've never been cool, so I can never be uncool. But yes, to embrace new things, to listen to what people are drawn to and to adapt to those sort of things. And to try and stay current, to try and not just harbour back to a certain sound in a certain era.
And you're going on tour,
Yeah.
so how do you think your fans are going to react to this album?
Well, the response to the singles that we've released 3 so far. There's Vintage, there's Glow, and just released a song called You. It's been phenomenal, and they've loved them, they've embraced them.
You've done so much in your career, obviously the singing, the acting, the TV and radio presenting, but you've also written novels.
Yeah.
You obviously love a new challenge.
I do, I really do. It gives me life, I guess. It gives me life, and so many of the things that I've been fortunate enough to do have happened without planning. I didn't anticipate having a broadcasting career. but opportunities arise, and if you have a go, I mean, I've failed at a lot of things, I mean, make no mistake, but sometimes you find something and you go, I get this, and I'm so lucky I've had this opportunity, so I'm going to work really hard.
Yeah, Michael Ball there, and he'll be coming to Bradford, Sheffield and York in September.
Yes, sounds good. Right, let's have a look at the weather then. Let's get the details from Kerry.
Expect clear skies, island vibes and afternoons made for exploring. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello again. Yes, we struggled with cloud amounts today. A few breaks, but generally cloudy with a few showers over Pennine areas. But yes, the good news, if you like it dry, warm and sunny, that's what's happening over the next few days. Becoming increasingly humid from tomorrow, but the showers fading, and a mostly dry story hopefully from Friday all the way through the weekend. High pressure is building to the southeast of us, and it's keeping any weather fronts to the northwest of us, certainly from Friday into the weekend. And it looks like those warm temperatures are staying with us into next week. Of course, half term for many as well. As we head through into this evening and overnight tonight, clear spells and patchy cloud, a few showers, and as the humidity increases into the early hours, we are expecting some low cloud over the hills and a showery band to threaten Pennine areas by dawn. But ahead of that, it's a mostly dry and relatively mild night as we head into Thursday. There is sometimes 4:56 and 9:11. For tomorrow, we're expecting quite a bit of cloud, some showers for the first part of the day, a bit of low cloud sitting on the hilltops as well. But as we head into the afternoon and especially the evening, it becomes drier and brighter, and it's going to start to feel quite a bit warmer with the humidity rising. So the low 20s tomorrow for many of us, still a bit of a breeze, but coming in from that southerly quarter. And then as we head into Friday, it looks like a mostly dry day as the weather fronts stay to the north and west of us. Hopefully some sunshine, could be a little bit hazy at times, but temperatures on Friday very warm, well above the average, mid-20s quite comfortably. And then as we head into the weekend, little bits of cloud around, hazy sunshine at times, but the wind's light, the temperatures well above the average, and also by night, those temperatures a lot warmer than they have been over recent weeks.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather. Making the most of summer. Piri sponsors ITV Pollen Count.
If you're a dry and warm weather fan, of course the weekend is for you, but for pollen sufferers, especially the grass pollen, which is set to rise from Friday onwards, not the very best of news.
We'll be sneezing on Friday, won't we?
Definitely, yeah. Let's just hope Kerry keeps her promise and the weather is nice at the weekend.
Get that fizz on the chill, that's what I'm saying.
Thank you, will do. That's it. Have a great evening. See you tomorrow. Good night.
Bye. Bye.